inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame is the pinnacle of post-wrestling accomplishments. It is an acknowledgement by fans and your peers that your career mattered. What you did in the ring will be immortalized for the rest of time. And look, I know that wrestling is scripted, so really, ultimately, it's the script that determines whether or not you get into the Hall of Fame. But to me, it's still important. To me, it's great to see these guys and gals get their moment to shine after their career has sunset. So today we're going to be looking at 9 individuals that I think could be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame before WrestleMania 40. And hey, as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm confident you're going to fall in love with this channel because we upload daily wrestling content. Also, shout out to everyone supporting over on Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. The Wrestling is Cool podcast is there. The Monday Night Raw reviews are there. The Friday Night SmackDown reviews are there. Thank you very much for helping keep the lights on and the mics on. Go check it out. It's the top link in the description. Maybe there's something that you're going to like there. Okay, before we fully dive into these picks, I have to acknowledge that the recent WWE Hall of Fame ceremony since 2022, I believe, they've been really small Hall of Fame classes. I'm talking no more than 3 or 4 people. And frankly, if I were to only pick 3 or 4 people, this just wouldn't be a very entertaining video. So I'm going with the mentality that this is an OG type of WWE Hall of Fame where there's 8, 9, 10 inductees. But okay, let's jump into things now. So we're going to be starting off with the late Bray Wyatt, who passed away earlier this year. Now, talking objectively, had he not passed away, had he just retired at this moment in time, he has a Hall of Fame worthy resume, but not a Hall of Fame worthy resume to be inducted immediately after being retired. He isn't a first ballot Hall of Famer based on his accolades alone. Looking at his accolades, a 1-time WWE champion, a 2-time Universal champion, and a few other championships sprinkled in there, and based on the longevity of his career, I would presume had he retired, he'd probably be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame anywhere from 5 to 10 years after his retirement. But with his unfortunate passing and the shock and awe that this brought to the entire professional wrestling landscape, I think that this is a perfect opportunity to immortalize and acknowledge just how great Bray Wyatt's career was. Personally, I would like to see him be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame sooner rather than later to help with the healing process of all of this, and of course to give his family and his friends an opportunity to be able to celebrate Bray Wyatt Wyndham Rotunda one more time in front of a big WWE Universe crowd that's going to be watching them. And I know that I only mention accolades here, but in terms of a character worker, this man is iconic and legendary. I'll be honest, I wasn't a big fan of his last run. I was very critical of it, and I do still stand by all of that criticism, but it doesn't change the fact that he was trying something different, pushing the envelope. It didn't resonate with me, but I know it resonated with a lot of people. To me, what resonated was Bayou Swamp Bray Wyatt, The Fiend Bray Wyatt, and just the way that he would absolutely 360 his character and be somebody entirely different from one moment to the other. There is no other character worker that I can even begin to compare to the likes of Bray Wyatt. The way that he advanced spooky storytelling alone is Hall of Fame worthy. He is a Hall of Fame worthy character worker, bar none. But yeah, sorry to start things on a somber note, but I do think it's the right time to induct Bray Wyatt into the WWE Hall of Fame. Okay, so I left who I think is going to be the headliner for this Hall of Fame class at the very end of this video. However, in the slim possibility that Vince McMahon does get inducted in this upcoming WWE Hall of Fame class, he would easily be the headliner of this Hall of Fame class. I mean, we're talking about the godfather of professional wrestling as we know it today, folks. Yes, of course, he has done some extracurricular activities that are less than savory, but we have to acknowledge his pure impact on everything that is the world of professional wrestling. Everything that we love about professional wrestling came from the mind of this crazy man. However, weirdly, it seems that Vince McMahon isn't that much of a lover of the spotlight when it comes to the WWE Hall of Fame. He's made it clear numerous times that he doesn't want to be thanked in Hall of Fame speeches. So I wouldn't be surprised if he denies being inducted into the Hall of Fame and they induct him after he passes away. away. However, with his retirement and basically being ousted from WWE by TKO, this could be the final goodbye, the final farewell from TKO to Vince McMahon by inducting him into the WWE Hall of Fame. Because the question isn't, will Vince McMahon ever be in the Hall of Fame? Like, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I just think that he'll be in the Hall of Fame when he chooses to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think if he has his way, he won't get inducted until he passes away. And I really don't think that I need to justify Vince McMahon being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Whenever he wants to be inducted, he's going to be inducted. Absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts. To me, it's criminal that Victoria has not yet been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I think it's absolutely crazy. For some weird reason, whenever people talk about women's wrestling in the Ruthless Aggression era, every single time they always talk about Trish and Lita. Trish and Lita this, Trish and Lita that. And for some reason, Victoria is never in the conversation. Let me tell you, folks, Victoria 100% deserves to be in that conversation, and in some cases more so than Lita and Trish Stratus. Now, mind you, I am 1,000% biased. Victoria, at that time, was my favorite female professional wrestler. I loved Victoria. But when we look at Victoria's resume, it dwarfs Trish Stratus and Lita. Not only did she spend nearly a decade in the WWE, she's a homegrown WWE girl as well, but then she would go on to Impact and be a legendary Impact women's wrestler over there. She won lots of Knockouts championships over there, and she went and carved out a Hall of Fame career in Impact as well. And don't tell me that we don't include Impact in all of this, because they acknowledged Impact for Kurt Angle's induction as well as Sting, so I don't want to hear it. But yeah, I think Victoria should have been inducted long ago. I think it is ludicrous that Stacy Keibler was inducted before Victoria. I think it's ludicrous that Tori Wilson was inducted before Victoria. It's unacceptable. Victoria is so goddamn good. She's so underrated. I think she should have been inducted about 5 years ago, but hey, it's better late than never. Let's get Victoria into the WWE Hall of Fame ASAP. And I'm going to give myself a backup women's inductee in case the WWE for some reason doesn't go with Victoria. Well, let's go with Jazz then, because Jazz was another one of those badass women of the Ruthless Aggression era that helped legitimize women's wrestling at that time, at a time where it was all about being a model and being on the cover of Playboy. When the majority of the divas, as they were called at the time, were just prancing around doing bras and panties matches, Victoria and Jazz were just putting on bangers and being brutal in the ring. Again, people only talk about Trish Stratus and Lita, but Victoria and Jazz need to be in that conversation as well. Not to mention that Jazz also went on to have a legendary career in the independent circuit after the time in the WWE that she spent there. You want another kicker here? She's an ECW original. Well, she isn't an ECW original. Her career originated in ECW. I kind of misspoke there. And where is WrestleMania this year? It's in Philadelphia, the home of ECW. So we have a legendary WWE women's superstar, is somebody who carved out a women's wrestling Hall of Fame career because she was recently inducted there, and she cut her teeth in the promotion that Philadelphia is known for in ECW. I mean, it's a perfect storm. Let's get Jazz in there as well. Look, we already mentioned that WrestleMania is in Philadelphia this year, and I don't need to introduce to you the king of Philadelphia, the founder and owner of Extreme Championship Wrestling, Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer, and there's an argument to be made that he could be the headliner of whatever Hall of Fame class he's a part of. He was the founder of ECW, which is going to go down in history as one of the most innovative, most important wrestling organizations of all time. Not only in ECW, but he spent time in WCW and, of course, the WWE, managing some of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, like The Undertaker when he was Big Mark Callis, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. This guy's accolades are insane. I think it'd be a really interesting stat to pull up just to see all of the championships that, quote, Paul Heyman guys have won throughout the years. Because although he isn't doing the actual wrestling in the ring, to me, all of those guys' accolades and accomplishments, he gets credit for it as well. 10 years ago, there might have been an argument as to who is the greatest professional wrestling manager of all time. Because you could have made an argument, of course, for Paul Heyman. You could have made an argument for Jim Cornette, for Bobby the Brain Heenan, for Jimmy Hart. But now it's not even close. Like, I'm telling you, he has separated himself by miles. Paul Heyman is the greatest professional wrestling manager, of all time. And I don't think that there's a single discussion, a single argument to be made against that statement. Now, some of you might be saying, why are we going to induct somebody that's already active in the WWE? Come on, all right. Rey Mysterio already bucked that trend last year. We can absolutely have Paul Heyman be an active manager for Roman Reigns while being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And if Roman Reigns somehow does go beyond WrestleMania 40 and continues to be champion, and Paul Heyman continues to be the wise man, the allure of having a Hall of Fame manager in the bloodline makes the bloodline that much more special. However, I could see them waiting on Paul Heyman, but I think that Philadelphia is just a perfect place for him. And I don't think that they're going to be coming back to Philadelphia in a perfect enough time where Paul Heyman is such an important figure in professional wrestling and actively being one of the most important players in today's professional wrestling. I don't see them coming back to Philadelphia in time for that to happen again. So I think the stars have aligned. Let's just have Paul Heyman in the WWE Hall of Fame in front of that Philadelphia crowd. Look, I'm knee deep into this Philadelphia argument that I've been making. So if I'm going to go in for a penny, I'm going to go in for a pound, and let's bring in Tommy Dreamer. Look, if you don't want to do jazz, if you think it's too early for Paul Heyman, at the very least, you have to pander to that Philadelphia crowd in some way, shape, or form with ECW legend Tommy Dreamer. And not only is he an ECW legend, like he had a great career in the WWE, and he would go on to have a legendary career in Impact as well. This man has been all over the world, has done it all as a legendary mid-carder, and he has put his body on the line time after time after time after time. I think it's time to give this man his flowers for everything that he's done for professional wrestling. Look, we're talking about a 30-year veteran. That's not normal. Professional wrestlers are not meant to last that long. We need to celebrate Tommy Dreamer while he's still around. I don't want this to be a situation where we wait for him to pass away for then to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Let's celebrate him while he's here, and let's give him his flowers and induct him into the WWE Hall of Fame. Hey, you didn't think I'd forget the celebrity wing. It's time to bring in Cyndi Lauper to the WWE Hall of Fame. Look, before you start making the old jokes, it's like, of course Santi would want Cyndi Lauper. He's a 50-year-old man. I'm 30. Okay, I don't know anything about Cyndi Lauper. This is not my generation of music. I just look like a 50-year-old Dominican baseball player, but I'm only 30, damn it. But Cyndi Lauper is like the OG when it comes to celebrity involvements in the world of professional wrestling. Not only did she get herself involved in professional wrestling, but she would get professional wrestling involved in her day-to-day. And I think those are the best celebrity involvements, when we can cross-pollinate, where the WWE can be present in their day-to-day and they can be present in day-to-day wrestling life. I think a good example of this is that she was a manager in WrestleMania 1 for the women's title match, while very close to WrestleMania 1 in that same year, she won a Grammy and she was escorted to the stage by her bodyguard, Hulk Hogan. But she wasn't a one-off appearance. Like, she made numerous appearances alongside Hulk Hogan in professional wrestling, appearances on Piper's Pit. Like, she was in wrestling. She was part of the wrestling conversation, the wrestling zeitgeist, wrestling culture. It's kind of surprising that she's not in the WWE Hall of Fame yet. Look, with how big Lex Luger was in the 90s in professional wrestling, you'd think he'd be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Hell, you'd think he's won multiple world championships, but this man has won barely anything in the world of WWE. He did win some WCW world titles, but in the WWE, all he did was win a Royal Rumble. Admittedly, that's a huge thing, but that was a tie with Bret Hart. And his only other accolade is winning the 1994 Slammy Award for being the most patriotic. I didn't make that up. But it seems to me that out of all of the major names in the 90s, Luger is the only one not in the WWE Hall of Fame. And that's a bit baffling to me. I understand that he was the failed Hulk Hogan replacement. Like, that's exactly what they tried to do, but it doesn't change the fact that he is a major component to early 90s professional wrestling culture as a whole. And I'm concerned that we're going to wait until he passes away to actually get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And I would think that that's a shame. I think that he does deserve his last moment of shine in the world of professional wrestling, as opposed to just being the subject of documentaries for like WWE Legends or whatever. I think he needs one more moment, that last 5 minutes of fame in front of wrestling fans, so that we can properly send him off. And last on this list, a very realistic option for this upcoming WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony is the animal Batista. Sometimes the inner Santino Marella just comes out of me. But he was already slated to be a WWE Hall of Famer, but the pandemic hit and then they couldn't make things work in future Hall of Fame years, so the Batista Hall of Fame induction never happened. But obviously, I don't need to justify this man's career. He is a first ballot WWE Hall of Famer. He was a needle mover for WWE in an era where they were desperately looking for their next needle mover. It was him and John Cena that emerged as those major impact players for the WWE. He's a multi-time world champion, multi-time Royal Rumble winner, multi-time WrestleMania main eventer. There's nothing that this man hasn't done. On top of that, I know that we don't necessarily always include things outside of wrestling, but he's made a tremendous name for himself in his post-wrestling life as well, and he has maintained a clean picture and has not gotten in any major troubles. He is the picture-perfect WWE Hall of Famer. Again, it's just a matter of whether or not the two sides can make the timing work, and I do think that they are able to make the timing work this time around because of all of the strikes having pushed back all of these movie schedules back by sometimes years. It's very possible that Batista might be free come springtime for the Hall of Fame. And aside from Vince McMahon, based on everyone that I've listed here, he is far and away the most important inductee, and he would 1000% be the headliner for this class of WWE Hall of Famers. But who would you include in this upcoming WWE Hall of Fame? Let me know in the comments down below, or if you don't have anything to say, just toss an emoji or a random word because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. Anyways, that's it. I'm done. Get out of here.